separate the category of players in two here. It's the duos that are on the lower end of the leaderboard and need to either get top 3 or a really good match to put themselves in the upper bracket through consistency, or it's the duos that are already top 10, top 15. They know they're qualified to the upper bracket, and what they want is that victory royale. So I would not be surprised if we see more aggression towards the high ground, more duos kind of taking those early game engagements to set themselves up for that late game. One of the duos, Thomas HD and Queasy, have not had the best start to their tournament, but hopefully if they're able to get out of the early game, we can see something happen from them.
Yeah, and at least in the back of their minds, they likely have that spot secured for tomorrow's upper bracket. Worst comes to worst, is Malibu or Mustache, another off-spawn battle, but it is going to be just a trade. Kiduo is already down. Mustache has just been taken out. Malabuka doesn't look like he's closing the distance just yet, so a possible revive scenario coming out. But I might have spoke too soon, Takata. Malabuka is ready to be an aggressor in this situation. He already has the upper bracket spot likely secured with 120 points. So almost nothing to lose going up against Cheatin in this fight.
Gotta be careful here. This duel means everything right now for these players. Seeing that Cheatin and Kiduo are not even in the cutoff to make upper bracket, they cannot afford getting eliminated here. They will go 2 lowers tomorrow. Mustache, Malabuka, on the other hand, are in upper bracket range. But you know they want more than just the upper bracket. They want to get that VR, but to do so, they need this elimination. So Malabuka has to make something happen.
That was a great way for Mustache to kind of move in, stop any hope at the revive from coming out, but Cheatin trying to get a little bit of a sneak attack. Does have the Frenzy versus a Hammer. I feel like it's a huge mismatch in damage if it comes down to box fighting. Cheatin's goal is going to be to try to close the gap, get in the face, and try to put that thing to work. But right now, Malabuka's just hot on the heels, keeping his opponent guessing, not letting Cheatin know where he's coming from at any moment.
Malabuka continuing to take pop shots here. Unable to connect any, though. He has 6 in the shotgun. One big one is all it's going to take. Tries to find an angle here, replacing the wall. Unable to connect the shot. The ramp blocks it. Malabuka dropped down 20. Hits a big crack, though. This could be it for Malabuka. Just one more shot needed to connect, but only 2 in the chamber. He cannot afford to miss here.
Ooh. That was
little
nice.
Dance.
That was
little
nice.
shot. A little elimination. That's what we love to see from the champions of last major, swinging that Axe of Champions. What a way to start off the last match of the day.
Third party's moving in, though. Malabuka hears it. He has to be careful.
You can see how it started off here. What happened with Mustache.
Ooh. Okay, that was the first one. That was actually great by Malabuka and Mustache. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to stay up, but this right here, he had all the important pieces in this fight. He knew he went right back on up. He knew there was really no exit, and that was a nice shot and a huge mismatch in the loadout as well, and he played it perfect.
Sato and Alex will swap over to opposite side of the map, basically, up against Nova Rabid. This engagement, though, when you got 2 players boxed up like that with a good amount of materials and heals, you can take shots, but if you want to fully finish the fight, it's either you get in or you full piece your opponent, but that's going to be difficult when they have literally, what, is that 8, 9 boxes to work with? A whole maze basically built. You can see the opponents quickly decided not worth it to take that fight. Pinq and Vico, though, so many shield fish to work with. This is perfect for taking engagements early on, being able to heal so quickly. Gonna put them at an advantageous position in these box fights. It was Destru and his duo partner, though, who were playing a little sneaky in the last match, trying to kind of wait it out and find those angles onto opponents. But confidence is all I'm seeing from Vico as he continues to apply that pressure.
Yeah, this is kind of like their same path, Pinq and Vico. They go up the side of this mountain. They try to take the top of the Olympus statue. And it's going to be interesting with the team already beating them there. You see Pinq has already made his way up as well. They're ready to kind of get aggressive for their space. This is something they've been doing almost every single game so far. And with the launch pad there, with the Flowberry Fizz, they're going to continue to do it here.
Are they going to land closer to their opponents, though? Are they going to land on them? That's true. Continues to kind of run away in a sense, dropping down Mount Olympus now. But Pinq and Vico, I think they're hungry. I don't know if it's dinner time, Jacob, but they want to feast.
Yeah, just like Malabuka and Mustache on the other side of Grim Gates. 170 points ensures your spot tomorrow's upper bracket round 3, where you have just 2 last chances to make the grand finals, most of it being through leaderboard. So they probably feel like, hey, let's start to get warmed up. Whatever happens, happens. Let's play just our normal game. And the way they isolate players out is their normal game. So for them, this isn't too strange of a strategy, but that team down below, they're just fully boxed up. So Pinq and Vico got to watch around every one of these corners and not bite off more than they can chew.
Continuing to find options here. Vico on the opposite side of Pinq, getting nice angles, but he's also been tagged a little bit. Destru forced to heal back up as Pinq continues to replace as many walls as possible here. I believe Vico landing another shot there, cracking one of his opponents. So far, the duel is on Pinq and Vico's side, showing not only the confidence, but also the damage that's being dealt. Destru now cracked. Vico down to 12 shield. Good news is, like we mentioned, shield fish, instant replenish of that shield. So right back to 200 effective HP and shield as the fight continues.
Yeah, there's another team at the top of Mount Olympus. Not sure the odds of them actually disrupting a fight like this, especially how deep it is at the actual POI. Is trading shots. Another one as Pyro just gets dropped down to just a little bit of HP. And look how healthy Pinq is, and look how aggressive he is getting. He's feeling that confidence, trying to attack from different angles. Cut off the path every single time. Destru finally goes down. Pinq high-flying from above, separates the opponents just enough to catch him off guard, just like that. Picture perfect play coming out from Pinq and Vico.
Great way to get it done. Now, fear is what I would be feeling from heroes here. Crouched in the corner like they don't know that he's there. It's a matter of time before they open up. Knock, knock. It's Pinq and Vico. Both elims now on the board. Will they continue that confidence and momentum, though, all the way up to the late game? They've got a good amount of damage from that. Now it's all about positioning, replenishing the loot that they've used, and making it to the late game.
Just gotta be careful for the team that's above and on the outside of Mount Olympus. But they have more than enough time to figure out what the strategy is next. Kiro and Mappy, 132 points. Definitely well within range of that upper bracket spot tomorrow, but still have that potential to win a big game here. We've seen them kind of make it very far into some of these games, but this time around, it does look with the zone pulling south, they're going to stagger themselves. They want to try to get some early game Storm Surge, so that way they don't have to worry about it as much later on.
Finn here. And Halo. Trying to kind of figure out what the game plan is. They have a solo in front of them, one elim on the board, so they've taken out half the team. I assume they know that the other players down here below. Question is, do they want to spend the time playing aggressive? They're not in zone yet, but they're not too far either. It can be a bit risky, but also worth it if they can finish it quickly.
This is going to be one of those decisions that kind of impacts the rest of your game, win or lose with the amount of time they are spending inside of the zone. Luckily for them, it hasn't really been too many heal-offs this time around as they continue to push Cheeps further and further back, trying to cut out any path or any chance he has at making things happen. And as soon as you see him trying to take some elevation, they immediately pounce yet again, just leaving them stuck in the water.
I'm sure a bit of the nerves here are affecting Halo and Finn because they are literally the cutoff of qualifying to the upper bracket at 84 points in 25th spot. So they cannot afford to get eliminated here, and they know that. So they want to play a little extra safe. You can tell they're not going directly in unless they know they can get this elimination. But that's also causing them to waste a lot of time here, as now there's even more players on the edge of zone kind of waiting. Ring around the rosy. As now finally more shots are getting connected. Just one more left to get the elimination. But how long is it going to take to finish this off? As it looks like they got it.
It's good maneuvering around that builds with the dashes to try to stay alive. That third party looked like they were going to try to jump on, get some surge, but they immediately disengaged on out. Probably didn't like the look that they were given. Sangild and Marius, you see they already have one elimination so far, and I feel bad. It's just an isolated player, half health, so far away from his teammate, really stood no chance. And you can see from the underworld, they have the Mythic Harbinger SMG, and you have to imagine the medallion is to follow.
With one elimination on the board now, like we saw, it's not enough damage necessarily to play full dead side of the zone, but It's enough to not have to get into any engagements. As we take a look now at Thomas HD and Queasy. Once again, seen them playing quite passive in the early game here, despite having quite a few duos around them in Mount Olympus and a bit of action. You can tell they really just want to make it to the late game.
Uh-oh. Well, that was looking dangerous for a second. Lunex just drops in at the wrong time. Probably trying to play hero with his teammate already going down, but Andalex and Sato, they take him down. And this is a big bounce back. Going down off spawn in game 1, choosing not to fight and disengage in game 2. They're adapting with everything that is being thrown at them at this stage in the game. And now that they got the bunker, going from looking weak, looking from a team that has some weaknesses as well, to probably looking strong again.
I'm trying to think, Jacob. Who do I want here? Who am I feeling is going to take that last VR? So many potential names. Merstash, Malabuka, Thomas, Queasy, Pinq, Vico. You got any names in mind?
Pinq, Vico, Malabuka, Merstash. I think they would be my top 2 favorites, but with how well they've been playing, it kind of slips through their fingers at the tail end. So I would actually like to see a duo achieve their first FNCS Grand Finals.
Ooh,
There's a couple of them in this lobby, but that's who I'm rooting for.
That's true. Let us know in the chat who you're feeling for this last match of day 2. It's going to secure that last ticket to the Grand Finals of FNCS for EU here. Chicho Trulex once again continuing their Storm Surge strategy. No Bush Bombs, though. It seems like they have changed up the position a little bit here, so you can see it's interesting. They are playing at a drop spot that's quite centered on the map, but when zone pulls far, they have those options for other ridges that they can build their Storm Surge base on. But you always want to build it for somewhere you can kind of replenish the materials you use. So if you used brick, you want to build it by a place that's got buildings, or at least a lot of those big rocks that you can refarm. You can see here, it could have just been from the build fight. If they did secure those eliminations, there could be extra materials. So making good use of that.
Oh, wow.
Same reaction. That was scary.
You don't expect somebody to get beamed like that on top of one of these towers, especially since you can kind of peek through the cones. There's a lot of information you can gather without really risking anything, but they just kind of get just tagged up with an instant. And now that Rift Island appears, you know, one thing I wanted to say is Trulex and Chicho, you know, contrary to some of the other games, they're built up so close to this Rift Island, so there's going to be a lot of potential shots now that they're on the same level playing field, plus the teams that are boxed up down below that Rift Island that we know like to use those rifts to rotate into the next zone.
Train driving right through, too. A lot of momentum here around with the Rift Island. Players up top. Train below. Kurama. You can see, actually, what a position for Trulex and Chicho. Kind of fortunately enough, the Rift Island appeared right by their Surge base, so now they kind of just have free pickings, taking shots at all the players there, especially when the rotates come through later on. There should be a lot of opportunity. Moneymaker for 9 with 46 points. They are on the lower end of the leaderboard here, so currently in lower bracket range for day 3. If they're unable to get a big match here, pressure is on their shoulders. Are they strong enough to stay tall? As they're going to choose to make their way towards the Rift Island for 9, though. I don't know if that was on purpose. Might have missed his drop there a little bit, but you know, you can slip every now and then. It's fine. Just don't fall all the way.
Yeah, luckily he was still kind of gliding down. And one thing about Moneymaker and Fnayan, though, is because of their points, they're almost forced into a win scenario just to make upper bracket as well. Like a second place, a third place. They are like 40 points down of where the bubble is at, and then you got to add on the points that teams are going to make it for this game. So if you're a fan of Moneymaker, if you're a fan of Fnayan, look for them to have a big game here to try to keep their upper bracket or even their FNCS for the Grand Finals alive. And with how crowded it is on top of Rift Island, you know they position just on the edge, so that's going to really bolster their Storm Surge, which is huge, which is very, very needed for them to continue to make it to these end games.
Luckily enough for Thomas HD and Queasy, the zone has pulled towards them. How they've been getting damage, I'm not sure. They're in 15th, so it is upper bracket range for this duo. They're playing more for that Victory Royale. We'll see where this zone does appear, though. 5th zone. Will it be back on Mount Olympus? It is.
Ooh.
Is that a blessing or a curse? as now duos will be rotating towards them, but you can see the edge of the zone where the duos will be rotating towards is more the north and west side of this, which is going to be out of vision for Thomas HD and Queasy. So their only options to get damage are the duos that are already based up at this POI, which could be a little bit more difficult than if they were more on the edge of zone on the congested side. So hopefully they've been doing damage.
Yeah, a couple of games ago, we saw a very, very similar zone. It went towards Brawler Battlegrounds at the end from the open water up the mountains. And I'm just hoping teams kind of notice little things like that, how it's matching. But Malibu and Mustache, forget that point. They found that first elimination onto Serene, tries to go back to back, quickly makes it happen. Much needed for Malibu and Mustache, because throughout these games, not only we see them kind of go down early, have lackluster performances, but it's Storm Surge that has been a crucial part of their game plan that they really haven't had consistency on.
This could be it though, Jacob. When the pressure's on, I feel like this duo performs. We saw them take home last major. Now all they need to take home is a ticket to compete once again in the EU FNCS Grand Finals. They're now 183 above. They've got a decent amount of damage with those 4 eliminations. But you can see there's a lot of duos already based up in zone, which most likely they will be looking back. And it looks like Thomas HD, Queasy have decided that they need that damage. And the only option of the players close by. Huge knockdown from Thomas HD. But now Queasy gets dropped. Thomas now forced to disengage.
Yeah, it's a whole nother team, a third team that came in, because you saw them get a knock on the one player at the very minimum. Mount Olympus looking a little bit more crowded than we saw it moments ago, and Thomas now stuck by himself. And his best case scenario is it pulling away from Mount Olympus, but chances of that happening is going to be slim to none. So Thomas better get used to being a solo here, because I'm not sure the chances of him getting Queasy back up.
Once again, Thomas playing as a solo. Third time I've seen this happen today. But if anyone can clutch it up, I've got confidence in Thomas, just with so many players close by. Even if he takes out one duo, there's another one just waiting for them. They've even pulled the zone once again, but now they're going to be on the congested side. Ideal situation would be have enough damage and now go to the east side of the zone early before the duos start rotating in. But having his duo gone down, he does have a good amount of mats. I mean, he could just play for the zone here.
You know, there might also be a launch pad just outside of Mount Olympus that we see Pinq and Vico use a lot that might be in the zone or not too far off where the zone actually is at. 252 damage above the threshold. Really nowhere to go other than getting that elimination, and kind of see a replay of the fight that we saw between Queasy, Thomas, and everyone in between, and just got caught off guard trying to get aggressive into the box, and almost the tables have turned because we saw Thomas edit the floor on the other side when that player tried to get into his box. Just getting out of position, 1-2 steps out of synchronization, costed Thomas his duo.
Marius left alone. Now with 2 players jumping right into his box. Not too many mats to work with. Huge 110 shot. Is he about to clip them, put them on socials? He needs to make something crazy happen here. A miracle, a blessing, but unable to do so. Stillion. Ammo. 604 above now, but pretty far from zone.
Yeah, this is around like a 4-tick, something like that. They need to hurry up and make it there so they don't expend a lot of the heals that they're going to need later on in the same game. But I talked about how terrible this zone can be for some if you don't plan ahead. You see almost everybody that is left in the lobby all stacked up on the western portion of the map, slow to rotate, and that is going to be really, really congested. So if we're able to break loose from that position, gain some elevation where the mountain range goes on Mount Olympus, you'll probably have the best chances to take high ground later on in this game.
Just look how many duos are on the edge of this zone. You do not have any freedom to walk around. Pinq and Vico now applying more pressure. They say, we got 700 damage. I don't care. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep going for more eliminations. You can see the aggression from this duo does not stop.
Rightfully so. They're probably one of the consistent, most aggressive duos in the lobby left over. Another monster shot, and Storm Surge does the rest. Perfectly played. He turns to a right. Pinq finishes his fight as well. It's raining loot. And they're going to get it all to themselves, and you can kind of see changing out that DMR, getting ready for the close range battle. They have a rotation and distance to cover, but with those 2 quick eliminations and all that loot, they are definitely set up and ready to go.
Lowbray Fizz getting popped here. Fizzing each other up, getting ready for this 7th zone that will start closing in just 7 seconds. All these duos that are on Mount Olympus higher up will be able to take shots on the players rotating in. Let's see how X Squeeze got it done, though. Nice little box. Wow. Put a wall right in Malabuka's face there, stopping his path. Merstash now, though. It's all up to him.
There's no builds either. Luckily, he does have some dashes thanks to the coin. He does have the Mythic Gatekeeper, but as soon as he gets targeted out, a lot of those builds are going to be forced to be used. Luckily for him, he does find some bandages to try to get that HP back on up, and some more in the corner as well. Perfect case scenario for Merstash, but he still needs to find the resources. 4 builds is not enough to rotate from zone to zone with so many teams on that same edge.
Trying to see if Buzz knows. I think he does. The Merstash was there. Luckily enough, the dash is going to save him. But be careful. For how long? 67, 26 twice. Just one more shot needed to connect. Merstash, can he do it? He does. Knockdown now. Going to get the finish. Chug splashes. This could be huge. Medkits as well. Bit of time in the zone. But the players now could potentially be looking back. Those dashes, though, might just save him.
Yeah, that's big for Merstash. A huge refresh, and just the loot that he was able to gather is going to keep him alive. But Thomas losing Queasy early on in the same game. We saw both live and the replay. 81 below. This is where it does get dicey. He does have a good amount of heals, but if he tries to out-heal this, he's going to leave himself with almost nothing left. Still having to look for Surge. He knows somebody's on the other side. That's Alkeens who lands that first shot, backing him up little by little. The last of the splashes now going out as he continues to fall further and further below the threshold. Chain of Hades comes out, lands a couple of shots with the damage, but it's still not enough to get above the threshold.
Legends playing as solos. Thomas HD, Merstash. They need to make something happen. Thomas goes down. Hootie now also sliver of HP, about to make it out of the zone, but for how long? Has a medkit and Flowberry. Just needs time to use it. Shots coming through every angle possible. Flowberry for the momentum. Nice drop down. This could be a huge elimination, but he's got to be careful.
Still almost roughly 20 points shy of where the bubble was at when the game started. So even though one team will advance to the grand finals, there's so many teams still trying to fight to keep their upper bracket life alive. And Hootie, with everything on his shoulders, he's able to get the med kit, but Merstash goes down. Him and Malabuka are now out of this game, but don't fret. They have their upper bracket spot for tomorrow secured.
Andalex, Sado connecting to builds below them. Are they the highest team is what I'm wondering. I think they are because they're not looking up. Will they hold on to it, though, as they get chopped down? Danger now for the duo. Be careful. Do not get dropped into Mappy's box. Nice 121, cracking him. Gives them a bit more time now to build right back up.
Makes him really think twice about attacking the high ground. Really got caught off guard by Andalex, so focused on Sado. And they're ready for this next zone to pull over, and it's going to go up the mountain yet again. They're going to be in prime position, but there is one team trying to close the distance, taking second height, ready to challenge them, especially if they have that banana and the Flowberry Fizz or any leftover dashes.
Gonna pop that just in case they do get chopped here. Preparing for the worst as they continue to build on up. Being able to connect would be ideal, but I don't see a world where they don't get chopped before then. Vico Pinq now. One of our top duos here, still up together, both looking healthy. Solid loadout, solid amount of damage. Could this be their match? It's a possibility. They just have to keep playing.
Yeah, very well could be. And Sado and Andalex finally find themselves safety above the mountain before water falling down just to try to connect. Give himself that extra bit of reinforcement. As Vico Pinq, they get spotted out. They just get tore up by Andalex. And those are those situations right there where everything's just looking so good for Pinq and Vico, and then in the blink of an eye, everything comes crumbling down.
Now forced to get ahead here. They don't want to give up the position they have up top. Mopping Hero from second height to now being a bit in the dirt here, forced to rotate around the edge of the zone. Another difficult one, pulling right back up the mountain. The players down below need to find a way up as Chicho picks up Andalex.
This is big right here, Chicho, Trulex. Trying to go ahead and sneak around the side. They might have overtaken this high ground for now. Taking it away from Sado, who's still down below. May have waited to the last game, but better late than never, I always say. And they can't really see anything. They're too high up in the clouds. All they can do is look down and spray, almost blind. And this is the thing, because those same clouds could cloud them from getting spotted and targeted from the low ground.
It's getting a little foggy as Vico now, Pinq, grouped up together once again. Mopping Hero building up. They're saying, we know how important the high ground can be. Is this the right moment to take it? As Trulex and Chicho continue to build up, they do not want to let anybody overthrow them. Kiro now dropped down, looking to see if they can look back and make something happen, but Trulex still up above now. dropping down, securing the high ground. They've done it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure to kind of pad it down below. You don't want to have everything come crumbling down, but he's wasting the last of the builds just to make sure they have such high elevation, and they finally reunite before they jump on down, all the way down at that. One of the only teams left with a few builds, but they look up at Mappy and Kudo. They've come crumbling down. Trulex, he's made a lapse in judgment. This is the moment here where everything comes slipping through his fingers.
Might have dropped too far. Dropped to 22 HP. No shields to work with either. Moppy and his duo looking incredibly healthy. Cheat Show now has to make something happen. Kiro gets taken down. Moppy, last one standing, gets taken down as well. Cheat Show with the double.
Uh-oh. Trulex goes down, though. Chicho is just down to 36 HP. This is going to come down to, if anybody looks up, any full duos left alive. Another couple of great shots coming out from Chicho, trying to keep this train rolling before he's finally taken down by Pinq and Vico.
Can they make it happen? Pinq and Vico, the most consistent duo of the semifinals yet to take home a victory royale. Now just 3 duos up, 4 players, both grouped up on low ground. It's low versus high.
It's all solos. It's all solos against Pinq and Vico. Karmi goes down. 2v1 situation. They waited until the last game to prove their dominance, and all they have to do is go through Lens, who instantly gets coned off. Pinq and Vico, every single angle is going to be taken, trying to cut off the high ground. Medkit being used just to make sure he has enough HP and shields to outlast this fight. Lens, though, he is slipping through a lot of these builds, keeping Pinq and Vico on his toes, but it's just not enough. The numbers game, Pinq and Vico finally do it from the most consistent team to the final team to advance to finals.
They have done it. The smile on my face from low ground every single match. And the funny thing is, once again, from low ground, they finally have broken the high ground curse of semifinals and gotten that victory royale and their ticket to the grand finals.
Just well played through and through. Each and every game, we saw them get farther and farther into these end games. It was realistically only a matter of time. Even the late medkit there dropped to 4 HP. Because if he's able to get that shot without the medkit, this is a 1v1. This would have came down to a 1v1, which Lens could have had a chance to take it. But all the hopes, all the dreams, everything gets shut down as Pinq and Vico advance to yet another EU FNCS Grand Finals.
Things you love to see. That was #1 on the list. Check it off now. All they've got to do is perform just as well in the grand finals. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of thinking they were gonna do it through consistency, but they got it with the VR. That's it for me and Jacob today. We'll be back tomorrow, but we still have to break down the matches. So Frankie 11 Mini, what do you got for us?